Hello everyone. As I said in my morning video, I was going to post a more extensive update for what we can expect around here in the Ozarks on Friday. And by expect, I mean severe storms on the spring side, so hail and gusty winds and potential for tornadoes does exist. This would be for Friday. So as always, we take a look at the models. We also take a look at what the forecast trends are at the SPC. So the Storm Prediction Center, issues these forecasts all the way out to day 8 every day. So anybody who is interested in severe weather, storm chasers, every morning we wake up and we look at this map right here to see if it's changed at all. So for day 4, if you see a yellow area, you got some severe storms possible. And we see these sometimes out to day 8. That would be rare, but that would be high confident that's going to happen. At day 4, that's pretty good. And what kind of ups the ante in this one a little bit is that there's an inner area of a higher probability of severe weather that's indicated by that. So again, 4 days out, you don't see that a whole lot. Let's move on to the models now and take a look at some of these. And of course, a lot of times we live and die by these models just because they are the only thing really capable of seeing what's going on into the future with any kind of certainty at all. And this is the 500 millibar flow. This is at 1 p.m. on Friday, and we're going to take a look at different models. We're going to take a look at the dynamics, is what we're referring to here. In other words, the wind, and then we'll look at how unstable the air might be. So this is the GFS model. This is a robust cutoff shortwave that is, we've seen a lot of these actually this year. This one's a little more further north than the other ones have been, which is what happens when we get further into spring. It just, the whole jet stream pattern generally shifts northward. Anyway, so here it is right here. The red and the purple are the strongest winds. So if you've seen this before, you know what I'm looking at. That's a pretty dynamic system. If I were looking for severe weather dynamically, meaning just looking at the winds, I would look at this area right here where they start to spread apart, northern Missouri, Iowa, into Illinois. And then the other area I would look at is the tail end of this right here, where with time, this is 1 o'clock by evening, there would be some spreading out that would occur in southeast Missouri, northeast Arkansas too. So those are the two bimodal areas where severe weather might develop. Is there model agreement at a very broad level with the jet stream? Well, yes and no. If you look at the shorter range model, which is the NAM here, that's actually pretty close. Okay, this isn't much different than what I just showed you. Same kind of short wave right here. And, same two areas that we're looking at. Maybe a little slower than the GFS. Then if we go to the European model, this one is significantly slower, and this has some implications. So this here, the maximum jet stream winds are way back here in the Texas and Oklahoma panhandle. So for severe weather to avoid the Ozarks, we don't want this model to be correct. So if you want that severe weather more to the east and out of our hair, you want the first two I showed you to be right. If you're slowing things down like you are here, what you're allowing is for more moisture to build in. You're allowing the wind field to match the heat, the warmest part of the day, instability type of argument. So this model would be one that would be more favorable for severe weather, more in the heart of southwest Missouri. So there are differences. How do you resolve them? A lot of times you don't. You just have to kind of take a blend and then just keep watching it. Of course, usually when you get closer to an event, things come into focus a little bit more. That's almost always the case. So again, 4 days out, we're just kind of giving you a heads up, which is what that SPC outlook was all about anyway. So, so again, slower on the European model. The European model doesn't have a great instability map, unfortunately. I believe, though, it does have, no, it doesn't even have dew points. Okay, that's okay. So anyway, just take everything I'm going to show you now and just back it up if the European model is right. So let's go back to the NAM, the short range model. Now let's look at some parameters. Let's just look at instability. Okay, so one of the things you want to look at here, this is called CAPE. Again, it doesn't matter what that is or how to define it. Just at this point, just realize that the blue area, light blue, is the most unstable, and the purple area is a little more stable, and white is not really unstable at all. So if you look here, what stands out here in the early afternoon is this area right here in northern Missouri, getting ready to move into Iowa, and then this trailing end right down here, the two areas I was talking about. If you move forward in time, that goes into southeast Iowa and right here, and then there's this trailing area right here into eastern Arkansas, maybe including parts of southeast Missouri as well, and it continues to move on. So let's back that up. Now go back to 1 o'clock, look at the GFS model. Not a whole lot of difference except just larger, so there's a lot more surface area of instability indicated by the GFS model up through northern Missouri. Notice that Missouri, southwest Missouri, and that dot is roughly Springfield, but it moves around because the maps are not quite the same. But you get the idea. But there is a trailing end, of instability here that would definitely support a severe thunderstorm. So we'll be watching that in the early evening very carefully. And then there's that other area down here in Texas. Again, I'll move that ahead. So that's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That one area of instability moves up into eastern Iowa, northern Illinois. This seems somewhat convoluted down here, maybe because rain showers will develop out ahead of that. It's hard to say. And then by early evening, this whole thing shifts away. And where I'd be watching for severe weather would be here in this area of western Kentucky and Tennessee right in here. Okay, so that is kind of a look at the just a general idea of what's happening Friday. So it definitely would keep a head up on this one. I'll definitely update this here. Maybe not tomorrow. I'll give the models a little more chance to recover here. So maybe the day before we'll take a look at this. But just know that we're kind of, depending on which model you believe, the severe weather will either be a little more robust over southwest Missouri, or it'll develop over our area and then continue to fly off to the east and northeast. And you should also know two more things. The winds behind this system are going to be very strong, non-thunderstorm winds, gusts to 40 plus miles per hour on Friday afternoon in the wake of this Friday evening. And the other thing I was going to mention is that another storm that looks kind of like this is coming around out of the Pacific for probably early next week sometime. So that's another recording. I hope you enjoyed it. Like the channel if you can think to do so. This is one of the things I do here, and of course I still have my head in weather and enjoy doing this. So I hope you enjoy it too, and be watching for further updates. See you later.